As nationwide protests challenging Iran's theocracy continue with hundreds killed, this prospect for the U.S. to retaliate against the Iranian regime still hangs in the air tonight. Joining us now is first-generation Iranian and Daily Mail journalist Elina Shirazi. Thank you so much for being here and, of course, to share your personal perspective. What is it like to start for Iranians just stuck in the middle of the chaos under this regime? I know you still have friends and family there, and you have spoken to people on the ground.
I have, Didi, and thank you so much for having me and for covering this topic as well. What I can say really is living under the oppressive thumb of a violent regime is not something that most people will luckily ever have to experience. But for Iranians, it's their reality every single day for the past 47 years. So today marks 19 days of what the Iranian people are calling the new revolution. And at this point, the regime's bloodbath has made a lot of people retreat back into their homes. The current orders so far that I'm hearing from on the ground from the government are three words: shoot to kill. And they're charging families for the bullet if they want the body back of their loved ones. So it's heartbreaking. And a lot of the Iranians that I've been able to speak with, despite this countrywide blackout, who have been able to connect to internet for just a few moments and then disappear. Iranians telling me that they open their doors now to the smell of tear gas and gunpowder. Some I've spoken with have had their family members go missing. Others tell me stories about how their friends and family were shot and killed. Another mother discussing how one of her friend's sons were killed in his mother's arms. Terrible, terrible stories. Some people have had their homes raided, their satellites stolen. As you remember, Didi, Elon Musk sent Starlink satellites to Iran to try and help with the blackout, to try and get any sort of glimpse of information there. But most have had their phone lines working now for a little bit, but are still too afraid to actually inform their families outside of Iran on what's happening, quite frankly, because they fear that their phones are tapped. I've had that experience having conversations with a lot of my family in Iran growing up, where I'd ask, how's the situation? How are you doing? Is it as bad as we hear? And they wouldn't really answer me. And that just made the hair stand up on my neck. I could tell that they were ignoring what I had to say. I would ask my father afterwards, why are they ignoring my questions? And he'd say, it's because the government is listening. Don't ask them. So how can you really get a sense of how they're doing? Despite the censorship that we have seen now, the past, as I mentioned, our 19 days, basically no information has been able to get out. So anything has proven to be very valuable. Yeah.
And just horrific details. And as you touched on, parallels between the past and present, talk a little bit about the parallels between what is happening right now in Iran and the revolution back in 1979.
You know, it's a similar kind of setup. There are a lot of people on the streets protesting for their rights, but it's quite different now in a sense where we have seen Iranians really just reject the government as a whole. When the Shah was in the country in 1979, it was a one-man government, and it was easier to overthrow the government in that sense. Now you have an Iranian government that has a vast web of proxies. We have Hezbollah, we have Hamas, we have the Houthis. What we have seen, though, over the past few days, it's quite clear that Iranians, they are not afraid to die for their freedoms. That is something that we hadn't really seen in the past few years. We've seen a snowballing since the Woman Life Movement Freedom with Mahsa Amini. We have seen a lot of women and children take to the streets as well. But it seems that this protest and these, really how people are feeling, their emotions, their willingness to die, everything has reached a fever pitch right now in the country.
Elina Shirazi, well, we appreciate you coming on and sharing your personal story. Keep us posted on the situation from the ground.
Absolutely, will do. Thank you, Didi.